Hi, everyone. I'm Philip Tifo, the Sales Director at VoIP.ms. Thanks for joining this webinar today. I'm with Robert Boca, or Rob Boca, the CEO and founder of Textable. Is your business's Textable? Correct me if it's the right slogan.
You got it.
I got it. Great. Thanks for joining us today. So here's how the webinar will flow. Robert will do a presentation about his platform, and we will continue a little bit about VoIP.ms right after to present who we are, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to also show a little bit of the integration of VoIP.ms or the VoIP.ms website. And if you have any question, feel free to send question in the chat at any moment. It's going to be a pleasure to answer your question while the webinar is going. So Rob, the floor is yours.
Great. Thanks for the introduction, Phil. As you mentioned, I'm Rob Boca, the founder of Textable. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. I've got a brief little presentation, and I'm actually going to get more into the demo of the product. So Textable is a bring your own carrier text messaging application. So what that means is we are a plug and play app for your VoIP.ms phone numbers. So, basically, again, my name is Rob Boca. I'm the founder of Textable, a popular text messaging application that allows customers or providers like VoIP.ms to text enable their phone numbers without writing a line of code. So we offer experiences that range from what I like to call more than basic, with features like away messages, canned responses, and keyword auto replies, to advanced with features like drip campaigns, blasts with keyword subscriptions, appointment reminders, integrations, and more. So without further ado, I'd like to show you a brief overview of Textable. And I'm going to discuss its features, the use cases, and we're going to skip over the setup part. I think Phil may touch on that just a bit. And honestly, we've got some great documentation for that, so I don't want to waste our time there. So over to the application. So I'm going to basically read this like a book, top to bottom. I like to start from the left and work my way down. Again, as Phil mentioned, if you've got any questions as we go along, just send them in the chat and we'll try to catch them as we go. So first, over here on the left-hand side, you'll see our number switcher. Our number switcher is essentially, that's where you're going to switch context of the application. And so what that means is if you're in an account where you've got multiple numbers shared with you, I can go ahead and switch in between, and it'll keep track of who said what while I'm inside of the conversation, even if I'm using a different number. And you could see that over here. I can hover over this sent label and it gives me an idea of who said what. Over here, we've got the away message feature. The away message is essentially an auto responder that will respond automatically whenever it's on. So it's toggleable on or off. We like to actually suggest sometimes that folks set up a sort of a main menu or an IVR that replies back with keyword auto reply suggestions. So next down is the conversation list. This is sort of the meat and potatoes. This is where you're going to spend most of your time in the application. Again, it looks like your standard chat application. Over here on the left, we've got our list of active conversations. On the right, I've got an active conversation. In the conversation view over here, you can see, my contact name, phone number, and you see this little, this link here. This link is something new. You'll notice down here on the menu, we've got a beta integrations tab. So we've recently released our integrations library. And so we've got a couple integrations, some CRM, some chat apps, and we'll go over that in a bit, in a little bit. But what this link means is that if I've installed an integration to say HubSpot, it lets me know that this contact is linked to somebody in HubSpot so that it's going to automatically keep things in sync, including the contact name here and message history inside of the details of that contact. So as I switch over here, can you guys see this HubSpot, Phil? Great. So basically you can see in here inside of HubSpot, it's going to keep track of who said what. If I update a name here and I go ahead and I'm communicating back and forth, it's actually going to sync over both the contact details, but also update that contact name here for me.
Pretty quick.
Sure.
It's very quick. It's
yes. Yeah, it's almost instantaneous. We a lot of what we do is almost in real time. So over here on the conversation screen again, just some features of composing a message. So over here I've got MMS, right? So we've pictures, videos, documents, all things like that we'll support. And if it's something that we can display in the browser, like a picture or a video or a media file like audio, we'll go ahead and give you a player if that's something we can support in the browser. Here we've got canned responses. Canned responses are, again, sort of scripted replies, things you find yourself commonly saying. They're great for staying on topic, staying on brand. It's great if you're sharing customer support across a team, because then that team can sort of keep the same replies to a lot of the commonly asked questions. We also use them as the source of the away messages here, so you might see some overlap there. And then you'll notice you can also attach a MMS file to the to a canned response if you want to send a file back. Then last but not least is our drip campaign feature. Drip campaign is a great way to get a contact's attention. It's a great way to get them to engage with you. It's great for following up or even onboarding new customers. So what a drip campaign is, it's a great, basically you can preview one of your campaigns that's already been configured over here, and it'll create a set of scheduled messages based on, again, that template you've created. And when you preview it, it'll give you a general idea of when those messages will go out. A great use case for this might be, I like to use the car dealership scenario. You might be a car salesman, and you certainly know as a car salesman, which one of your customers historically have a lease coming due, right? Because you're going to want to reach out to them ahead of time to try to get their business on their new car. So a drip campaign may be a great way to reach out and get their attention.
I have a question about that in HubSpot specifically.
Sure.
Will these replies or drip campaign will be synchronous with let's say HubSpot workflows? Is it something that you are looking to have sync? So whenever a workflows is going on, so and you want to either stop the workflow because the person did reply, or is there any interaction with HubSpot workflows and your drip campaign as up to now, or it's something you will and
It's great input, to be honest. We use Pipedrive internally for our CRM, so HubSpot's something we're learning a little bit about. But taking that a step back, looking at our approach to integrations in general, we're sort of creating categories of integrations. And the first being CRM, right? So where HubSpot falls in. And then you've got chat apps. So you get your Teams, Slack, and WebEx. And then below that, you're going to have a little more industry specific things, I think, from there, right? Obviously, you're going to have then contact and calendar sync with things like 365 and Teams. So basically, going back to the HubSpot question, the way we're doing CRMs is we're initially releasing them as sort of a background sync. So it's going to do this lookup in the background. It's going to synchronize the messages in the background. And that's sort of phase one. In phase two, we're going to be looking at what can all of our CRMs sort of do standard across the board, and what can we do to sort of connect the dots between Textable and those CRMs. So that's a great example of how we might be able to, in phase two, look at something like a drip campaign and how it syncs up with a feature of HubSpot, and figure out how they can, how we can link them together. So that's a great example. And one thing that I like to point out is Textable from the beginning has really been built based on feedback from customers. We've got a wide variety of customers and a wide variety of use cases, and everyone's really giving us feedback along the way. We take that and we figure out how can we apply this across the board to everybody. So again, great feedback there. Be glad to sort of make a note of that on our side as we enter sort of the phase two and beyond of our integrations. So.
Good. Just before you keep going, we already have questions here. Sure. One is, does Textable integrate with a user existing texting app, or do they need to use a different app on their phone?
So the way Textable works is you would connect, say, your VoIP.ms account to it as a VoIP.ms user. And then when you send a text message out, it's going to come through traditional SMS or MMS. So what that means is if you sent a text message to somebody on an iPhone, it's going to come through the message, the iMessage app, but it's going to be the green text. If you send it to somebody's Android, it's going to go through Messages or whatever Messages app they may have installed on their phone. it's just traditional SMS. So there's no app to be downloaded on your customer side. And that's why SMS and MMS have been so successful with engagement, is because there's nothing to do on the customer side, like maybe with WhatsApp, for instance, where you don't have to, it can fail over to SMS. But obviously WhatsApp wants to push you to their platform and your customers. So this is a really low barrier of entry for you to communicate with customers without having them to download anything.
Okay, great. The next question is, we're currently use Google for some text conversation with our clients. Is there an integration with Google's platform that would allow you to respond to Google's text from Textable platform? So in short, do you have or plan
I'm assuming that's Google Voice. Unfortunately, today, Google Voice doesn't have any open APIs for integrating with those sorts of things. I'm not sure if they will. We've tried to reach out, but we're much smaller than Google, and I'm not really sure their plans there. We do have some feature requests to support that, and even some other providers like Ring Central and Dialpad, who they may offer messaging, but it's a very basic experience. They actually offer APIs, so we'll be looking to how you can stack on top of that. But no, Google Voice right now doesn't have an API that we're aware of. So.
Okay, good. And sorry, I have to go back to the first question.
Sure.
On the sender side, is the user able to use their existing app, or does the sender need an app from Textable? I guess that the answer is that they would need to use Textable app to continue the conversation on the sender side.
Yes, yeah. So if you're the sender, again, you're the VoIP.ms user sending outbound, you do need to download Textable, the app. We do our best to make it feel as comfortable and as natural to what your platform is, Android or iOS. And then the website, obviously, you get the portal here as well to go ahead and to use from your desktop. Both platforms have push notifications, both on the browser side and on your desktop. So even if the app is closed, even if your browser is closed, you should still get those desktop notifications. And then on iOS and Android, you should also obviously get your native push.
Sure. Okay, great. There's another question, but it's about integration. I think we can keep it for when you will be there. So Amanda, stay tuned. We will be back to you in a moment.
Yep, definitely. We'll hop over to integrations. We'll cover. I've got a slide about some of them and what we're looking to do in the future too. So we'll hit that then. Over here real quick, we've got the export feature. This is great to go ahead and choose. I think we limit it to 7 days today, and you could choose the CSV or HTML. It's basically a tabular format of the to, the from, all the message details you might want. If you need to store it somewhere else or just back it up for some reason, right? Starting a new conversation, real simple, right? Address book over here. I think that's really it from the conversation screen. I'm going to jump real quick into a feature that I like to mention, and I always tend to forget in my demos, and that's our built-in user guides. So what we've done is inside of the application, at the top of any feature here, there's a little question mark icon. You can click on that icon, and it'll launch into our, again, in-app user guides. The cool thing about this is obviously you're inside of the app, you're using it, and every time we update or add a feature or anything like that, you're going to see these updated as well. So if you're, an owner worried about onboarding and training employees, this should help that. Or if you're just somebody who's like, I need to know how to use this, it's always right there. Like I said, it's always up to date as we add. This system, we're assuming there's sort of an assumption made that you have opt-in status for this customer, and then if somebody texts into you, you sort of have that implied consent to go ahead and communicate with them anyway. It's transactional at that point. If they reply back with any of this, the 5 keywords stop and cancel, quit, or unsubscribe, we're going to mark them automatically opted out here and let you know that, hey, this person's opted out. Both here, I'm going to actually show you. Hey, Phil, did we lose it there?
Yeah, I got lost for a second. Sorry about that.
I think we're back. No problem. I think we have everyone else still here too, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right, we'll keep on. So again, back to the contact list, you can import via CSV. We provide a little sample here for you. It's real simple: name, phone number, email. You can also choose to segment those contacts into lists. And so that's useful if you want to do marketing, notifications, staff alerts, things like that. So you may segment out those lists how you choose. You can do that at import. Our list feature also has a cool keyword subscribe feature to it, in that if you set the keyword here and they text that in, they're going to automatically get added to this list. And then what we see folks actually do is combine the auto subscribe keyword with a canned response keyword to have them, get some sort of promotion back, potentially send them to a URL on your website or a landing page, or maybe upload a flyer with a some sort of promo or coupon code on it for tracking if you're brick and mortar. Down, and then lists, really those lists are useful today really for our blast feature. So the blast is sort of a marketing type campaign and notification system, a one-to-many, right? So that get the same message out to an audience of people, and we'll go over that in a second. And we're going to be adding some features to the list to be able to do things like apply a drip campaign, for instance, in bulk. Remember, a drip campaign is really a set of scheduled messages customized slightly for that user. So again, being able to apply that in bulk is something that we've had requested and we'll be working on in the near future. Down here to canned response, again, these are your scripted replies. So this is just where you're going to manage them, right? The content of them. So adding them is real simple. Again, there's that auto reply keyword that's optional. You can attach an MMS to them as well. Again, automating, maybe a flyer going back out to somebody or a promo. And then one cool little feature is if there's a keyword auto reply set on there, we actually generate a little QR code for you inside of the app. You might want to put that on, on print, print media, digital media, flyers, things like that. You might be handing out. You might be putting a tabletop or a sticker or a decal in your place of business. It's a great way to get people to join your list easily. When you scan that QR code, it's going to open up their native messages app, pre-fill the number and the keyword, and all they got to do is hit send, and that initiates that whole automated reply, again, getting them into your list or your sort of sequence that you want them to. Down here to drip campaigns, again, we've talked about how they work, what they are. This is really just how you configure them. Today, the way drip campaigns work is, all messages get scheduled. First one goes out. If that contact were to reply back, any of those future scheduled messages are automatically getting deleted. Again, the whole point is to engage that customer. But actually, again, example of feedback from our users, folks said, hey, I want to use drip campaigns also as educational. And what they meant by that is they might be onboarding a new customer. Again, jump back to the car salesman scenario. Maybe you want to be real helpful. You just sold a new car to somebody, and in a drip campaign, you may want to send out a video on how to use the car over the next 3 days, week, and span it out every couple of days. Even if that person replies, you're going to still want that educational content to come out. So what we're doing is we're actually adding a checkbox here to say, don't delete these drips to allow you to, again, use that feature a little bit further. That should be something I think in the next few weeks you'll see released out. I know it's in our testing environment now. And then down here to blast, I'd mentioned them with the list feature, but I'll go into them a little bit more detail. Again, a blast is really how you send out that one-to-many notification. Down here, we have our settings. I just pulled up the settings real quick, only to show you. You could set a default compliance footer. And what that means is this is something that's going to get appended to the bottom of every blast. It's generally recommended that you identify who you are and how they can opt out. Some folks like to get a little more verbose and say, this is why we're contacting you today. But generally speaking, just who you are and how to stop is good. So blast name here, again, this is just for me, so to know what the campaign contains. Status of draft, send now or schedule. Draft, I'm going to come back and work on this later. Send now, we'll trigger it out in the next minute or two. And then schedule, you can choose a time zone, a date, and a time, which to schedule that message to go out. And then here, again, entering your message, you can upload an MMS file like we mentioned. And then here I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but basically anywhere that you enter in a message, be it a template, a canned response, etc., you can use some basic merge fields that we've got. I'll address a question that commonly comes up based on these merge fields. Custom data. Today, we do not support custom data fields. It's something we're exploring, but obviously it's pretty technically complicated. So once we get through that, you'll see some more merge fields coming out, but that's probably at least 6 months out, if I'm being honest. Again, down here, we just mentioned that the footer gets appended and that we automatically opt folks out based on these keywords. This can be modified on a per send basis too. Let's say, maybe this is a staff list, you want to send it out to a few of your employees or colleagues. Maybe you don't need this footer, right? If you're doing any marketing or anything like that to customers, you're going to want to certainly include these footers as best practice. Again, you could come down and now choose one of those lists that you created, or again, in that situation where you might have a few people you want to send to, you can just choose them on the fly. And then here you could see if somebody's opted out, again, I can't choose them in that list. I can't send them. I can't schedule anything to them. Down here, not quite last but not least, but is the reminders section. Reminders, appointment reminders for doctors, dentists, field service techs if you're coming out, or hey, any kind of reminders you want to get out, right? So what happens here is you go ahead and you create it. You select the recipient. You choose your time zone, your date, and your time. And you go ahead and create that message. What happens is it puts a little blue dot on the calendar, letting me know that I've got messages scheduled on that day, or at least one message. I click on that day and it pulls up my list here. I can preview it, edit it, delete it if I need to, as long as it hasn't been sent yet. And then if I'm in that conversation with that customer, I can see here that I have a scheduled message. So maybe they text me in and say, hey, I've got to reschedule. Well, right here, you see immediately that you've got to move this to whenever they've rescheduled for, right? So that's pretty minimal. So I'm in a demo environment where our profile here is a little bit limited. This looks similar to what our Teams account does. So our Teams here, this is a limited view that you see. You can't really modify much. This is all up to the admin here to to control. We'll go over provisioning slightly a bit, towards the end. Again, you could do self-service things like change passwords, both logged in and if you've forgotten it. And then real quick, again, now into the integrations. I know there were some questions about it. This is what we support right now today. That's live for our Pro and Teams users and our white label customers as well. Have the option to enable these for their customers. But HubSpot is our first CRM. Just for some transparency here, we've got Pipedrive coming out in the very near future. And then following that, we'll be looking at Zoho, Salesforce, and I believe Sugar was another popular one. So on that note, we're always looking for feedback on popular CRMs specifically and some of the other apps. So if there's any that you guys really want to see support for, just shoot us an email at support@textable.co. And we'll, let us know, hey, I'd like to request this feature integration, and we'll go ahead and consider it. Webhook relays, HubSpot's pretty straightforward. Webhook relays, basically what that is we'll send you a message event to a URL of your choosing every time a message comes in or out. This is great for integrating, automating, archiving, anything you might want to do. If you want a copy of every message that comes in or out of the system, you'll get it with this webhook. Slack, Teams, and WebEx is another one that's coming in the future. WebEx doesn't have a sort of webhook configuration option, only an app install option. So we're preparing that one. But essentially, the way all of those chat apps will work is you install it, you choose a channel to push notifications to, and then you'll get a message block that says, new message from, contact name, phone number, message content, and a button to go, hey, click to go to conversation. That'll take you right over to the Textable web app to get you, able to reply. You can thread off of that internally on Slack or Teams or whatever to chat about it and then come up with a reply maybe. And then in the future, we're enhancing that integration probably a month or so, where you'll see the ability to reply actually inside of your chat app. So there'll be a text box or a button that says reply, and you'll be able to actually reply right in line without leaving. So we're pretty excited to see that. And like I said, there's instructions on setting each one of these up with webhooks today. And we'll probably be putting out a video too, just to make sure there's not too much confusion there. So Some other apps. Actually, I've got a whole other slide here on integrations. I want to step back let me jump to those integrations real quick just to talk about some of them. So chat support here, we've mentioned Slack, WebEx, and Teams, Office, and sort of C-suite. I'm not sure what we meant by C-suite there, but contacts, calendar, and file sharing, right? So the idea for these would be able to pull in contacts and calendar sync for appointment reminders or contact lookups, Drive, Dropbox, and Box. The idea there, all of, and Workspace and 365. The idea there is that, maybe pulling in an MMS attachment from your Drive, might be something that you can do. Some support and ticketing softwares that we've had requested, ConnectWise, Zendesk, and Autotask. Again, some of the CRMs that we're looking at, HubSpot, again, is done. Pipedrive, pretty far along. Zoho and Salesforce are moving along as well. Not quite live yet. And then this is a new category that we don't have anything moving in yet, but is really where we're going to be looking next, is Toast, a really popular point of sale for brick and mortar retail and hospitality restaurant businesses. Lightning, sort of similar, and then Shopify, Squarespace, and Stripe for that e-commerce world. So that's sort of, that jumps around a little bit for me, gets into the integration stuff. Sharing, again, this is just where you control the sharing of those things. And then our API and Relay, these two specific features are sort of gated to our white label environment. And I'll go over the white label just in a second, but essentially these are some legacy support for webhooks. They work just in the same way that the new integrations do. And then there's also API for, go ahead and delete this actually. There's actually, this is just a dev account, so it doesn't really matter, but I go ahead and delete that. This is just the API docs for sending, creating contacts and things like that, right? So that's again limited to the white label side on the API, but will become available on the retail side in the future. Jumping back over real quick to retail and white label. So Textable has a self-service option. You go ahead, you go to textable.app, you sign up, you plug in your VoIP.ms details, and you're off to the races. Within a few minutes, you're sending messages without having to write any code, right? So the way we've priced the self-service, there's 3 plans today: Basic, Pro, and Teams. The Basic plan, really great for an individual user or small business who really just needs some basic text messaging with a little bit of enhanced features to it. Again, away messages, canned responses, and keyword replies. The Pro, that adds on those marketing features and the automation features, really for that small business who maybe wants to get into scaling their marketing or customer service. That also includes the integrations. So if you're somebody who wants to really see these things synchronized, the Pro or the Teams account is really going to be, for you, I think. And then the Teams account, the Basic and the Pro today are limited to individual, single number, single user logins. It's meant for that sort of use case. If you're on a team environment or you're looking to potentially resell this as a voice, hosted voice provider, the Teams account starts to make a lot of sense for you because you can create multiple logins, assign multiple numbers, and share amongst users. There's also some organizational based features that I actually skipped over. Org admins, for instance, can see only their users and control number sharing and things like that. There's also an organizational consent message feature, which allows you to enforce a message goes out for every new contact across an organization. Number sharing, again, that's that ability to go ahead and say, hey, I want to give access to multiple people. And then user permissions, again, granularly saying, hey, I want this user to be able to do this or this. Integrations, again, obviously are part of it. And the Teams is really a all pro user set, but with these additional features on the right here. It starts as 10 users at 75. So you're basically paying $7.50 US dollars a month per user. And then if you go over, it can scale to however many users you need, again, at an additional $7.50. I've touched on our white label a little bit. Basically what our white label is, it's a branded web and mobile application suite generally it's for hosted voice resellers, someone who's selling some sort of phone service to a business. We do have some customers who either are large enough to justify wanting, their own white label. They need the API access that's not publicly available potentially, or there may be an agency and they offer this as a sort of a marketing service along the side. So that's usually our use case. Definitely heavy on the hosted reseller side. You get your own branded web and mobile apps. Again, that includes apps in the App Store under your own brand. We publish everything for you. We maintain it. We update it. And again, it just looks like you've created your own app. And then there's obviously, the last benefit to that is the reseller pricing. Being that there's a minimum commitment to the white label side, we also help you scale at the per user cost by giving you that reseller pricing. That's it's really it. I know we ran a little late and ran a little long, but do we have any questions before I get into some of our frequently asked?
There was one question about the integration. It was a question to know if you would integrate with the Active Campaign. I don't know this specific device or software.
Sure.
Probably it's something that maybe
I think it's
later,
similar to a MailChimp. Yeah.
Active Campaign, it's maybe a suggestion that can be taken. However, you did not mention it in your plan.
Sure. Yeah. And just to be clear, some of these integrations are sort of, we looked at either requests that come in, vendors we already work with here, right? Like our PBX support vendors. And then some of the ones that we want to do. Something like Active Campaign, I expect you're talking more about maybe the contact sync side of it. I know Active Campaign is quite large now and does a good bit of things. So that's something that, we can certainly go ahead and add to the list as well. But yeah, any other questions?
Yeah, maybe one suggestion here in Canada, one of the POS system, it's a Lightspeed.
What? I put Lightning. It's actually supposed to be Lightspeed here.
Lightspeed. So. All right. That's I wasn't sure, but I was like, maybe it is. Anyway, Lightspeed is a very popular POS system, and they have a lot of cool integration. So it's definitely a good use case for SMS. So, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah, good catch. Actually, that was supposed to be Lightspeed. So yeah, that's something that we're looking at as well. Being honest, these environments are a little bit harder to get into. So that's something that these are a little bit hopefuls on this side, with these being obviously more open. So
great. And maybe one last one question that I was having for myself. Have you ever thought integrating with CMS like Wix or I don't know, Weebly or GoDaddy, like website builder or like content management?
Is that to sort of create sort of like a widget to initiate the lead capture web form sort of widget?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so widgets are something that we actually are sort of in our lab, so to speak, right? Proof of concepting out widgets as a whole. So what I mean by that is folks have asked about some sort of web subscribe widget for opt-ins and things like that. So that's something we're looking into. We don't really have any timelines or commitments to any of that because it's very much discussion at this point. We do have some proof of concept widgets where people can actually drop. We have a couple of our partners testing them out where you can actually take pieces of Textable and put it inside of your application, mainly like a conversation UI, right? Without having to really write too much code. That stuff we'll probably announce more in the new year. You'll start seeing a little more developer friendly tools where you can use our no code stuff, but if you want to dig in a little bit and customize, you'll be able to. So
great.
Any other questions?
The last one has the carrier. Do you need to register for 10DLC? In Canada, no. In it depends. If you send SMS from Canada to United States, yes. If you're sending within Canada, you're still in the gray zone. However, I think for United States, depending on the volume that you're expecting to send or who you will contact, you will need to register to 10DLC. Am I correct, Robert?
Yes. Yeah. And I have my own feelings about 10DLC, but essentially, generally suggest that everyone register if you're going to send any sort of traffic to the US. A lot of folks are turning off the routes if you're not registered, or they're, your potential for fees or fines, surcharges go up, obviously. And what they've done, even on the smaller side of things, is they've made some things complicated, but they've also made it a little cheaper, right? T-Mobile used to have a $50 fee, right, to get onboarded. That's gone. So obviously that helps a little bit. So they're trying to, I think, meet in the middle
Yeah.
to make everyone happy. So yes, you should register. Not too up to speed, obviously, on the Canadian side myself, but on the US side, certainly you should be registering your traffic.
And if it's just for customer service, and you're not doing any marketing, I think there's also a little exception. But honestly, it's a legal question, so make sure to be compliant on this specific question. However, I think there's a fit for all types of businesses, even for 10 DLCs.
Right. Yep. And so real quick, I'll just cover a few of these questions, right? Does Textable charge per message? No, we're bring your own carrier solution. So you're going to be paying us a user subscription fee, and then you'll pay VoIP.ms, per message and whatever the rates you have, right, for your numbers and things like that, right? But with Textable, it's just what you see, what we charge. And then the rest gets passed on to the carrier. White label side, again, I'm not sure what our audience is for the white label business here, but basically the white label, it's about a 5 to 7 day process, start to finish, usually on the probably 7 business days, because what we do is we deploy the web app, we get some things out to you, and then within 2 to 3 business days, you usually get your web application deployed and able to log in. After that, we'll submit the mobile apps to the App Store for you. And that can take usually it's done within a day, but that can take a couple of days depending on timing, right? So we like to say about 5 to 7 business days from submission, you'll have your white label ready to go. Usually people ask that question because they have a customer that needs it yesterday. So we like to say, hey, talk to us before then, because you've got other considerations, right? You've got 10 DLC, you've got how you're going to price it, package it, and sell it, right? So if you're thinking about offering, business texting as a solution, definitely talk to us. Just plan ahead. We can get things done quickly, but there's just things that are out of our control as well. So I think we covered the do you integrate with pretty thoroughly. Again, if you've got any questions about integrations or suggestions, feel free to send them over to support@textable.co. And then, I think we talked about the 10 DLC stuff a little bit, but 10 DLC essentially, was put in place to help stop the bad actors, so to speak, and allow the mobile carriers some control over who is sending what to their network, and really have the ability to put a stop to it if they've identified your traffic as the problem, without turning off, say, an entire carrier, right? It brings it down really to the user brand and even use case level, which is, it's good in control, no matter how you feel about the registration and fee structure of it all. So I think that really covers what I've got, right? Phil, do you have anything you'd like to add, or?
For now, not really. You cover a lot of information here, so it's a very interesting platform. It's the one that VoIP.ms is recommending to or customer, either for resellers or businesses. It's as of to now, and it's very complete, and we are working with Textable since a couple of years now. We saw the evolution of the product. Almost from ground up to what it is right now, and we can say definitely that these guys at Textable are working hard. There's a huge evolution, and it's a very well thought product. We also have our own SMS center, but it cannot be compared to what Textable is offering. If Textable is bring your own carrier, we are bring your own solution, specifically for this, because a solution like this, it's way more tailored for a specific need than VoIP.ms as a carrier can cover everything else. So be in contact with Textable for all your SMS needs, MMS as well. But yeah, I think about your platform, I cannot be more an advocate from your product than I am right now.
Well, I appreciate that, Phil. Kind words. Like I said, I'm the founder, so I worked on a good bit from the beginning, but also we've got a great team, to work with, and they're really excited about what we've built, all the feedback we've been getting, and where we're going to be, headed with it too. So definitely stay tuned. Go ahead and sign up. There's a free trial. I think it's a 7-day trial. Even if you just are curious, go
You
ahead,
can
sign up.
go you can go on wiki.voip.ms and look for Textable. We have a sign up link, and also all the integration guide that will show up in a second. So you can
Perfect.
use that link and find the information to integrate to VoIP.ms all at the same time. So yes, sure. It's
Yeah, and I'd say that wiki is a great place to start. I reviewed it myself. It'll give you all the details, how to get signed up with Textable, how to get it connected to VoIP.ms, and all the details from there. So
great. I'm gonna start sharing my screen if you don't mind, Robert. One
sure.
second. So, all right. I thought that I was kicked out again. All right. So a little bit about VoIP.ms. VoIP.ms is a Montreal-based voice provider founded in 2007. It's our 15th anniversary year today. Not today, but right now. We offer the IDs in more than 1,500 rate center across North America and in more than 60 countries. However, SMS and MMS text table or texting possibilities, it's only for North America. For now, we might go international at some point, but for now, VoIP.ms only support North America SMS and MMS. We offer also toll-free texting. I'm not sure if it's something that you have integrated into Textable. However, it's also very limited in terms of regulation, the toll-free texting. So be sure to be compliant about it. We offer call conference, SMS, MMS, and a lot more, hosted PBX, trunking, and so on. So a little bit about our pricing. Our phone number or DIDs start at 85 cents per month, incoming call at 9 cents per month in Canada, and in the United States. And in Canada, for outgoing, it's 5 cents, and United States, it's 1 cent per minute. And SMS, I should have put it there. It's 75 zero,
0075.
yeah, 0075 cents per SMS incoming and outgoing. If you have a huge volume and you want to go ahead to resell SMS, you can contact us, and we will maybe can check on the rates. However, for today, the rate is 0075 per SMS, and I'm not sure for the MMS, but this is a slightly different price. For about VoIP.ms, who we are, and why us. VoIP.ms is a fully hosted platform, feature rich, bring your own solution, as I mentioned earlier, and pay as you go. This is our 4-pillar and business model. Our certified partner today, it's Textable, but VoIP.ms, it's recognized and certified by all the brand on the market, all the major brand on the market, and so you can trust VoIP.ms services with all your devices or solution. They all recognize VoIP.ms as a certified solution for all these brands and even much more, but specifically for these ones. This is all our hosted PBX features. There's much more, but if you want to use VoIP.ms as your VoIP provider, you can also use it for texting, but you can also use us as your hosted PBX platform, either as a client or customers, or as a white label resellers. And all these features will be available to either use for yourself or to be resell. However, there's no cost to activate those feature, but there's only the cost of the use of them. So let's say somebody's calling on the IVR, for instance. The time that the people are on the IVR will be billed, but there's no actual cost to activate the IVR by itself. It's pretty much the same thing for all OR features all across the board. Maybe, I don't know, the IDs will be monthly, 911 will be monthly, but apart from that, it's all usage-based billing. A little bit about our security features. So we offer two-step verification, the call encryption, email notification, foreign IP guard, max calling time, allowed calling area. So all these features combined together is making your account and your usage safe on the web, and basically mostly your account safe. A little bit about our SIP trunking and API solution. For the SIP trunking, we are global, so we have a point of presence all across the world, from East Coast to West Coast in the United States and Canada, but also in France, United Kingdom, and Amsterdam, and also a little one very far in Sydney, Australia. So that allow you to connect your endpoint directly to these PUPs, to these point of presence, to reduce latency, to reduce jitter, to reduce all sort of networking requirement to have a better VoIP experience. Or monitored is or network is monitored 24/7 all year long. So we have a team that is there at any moment to make sure that everything is up and running. A little bit about our API. I don't want to go too far into this because you can pretty much do everything you want with it. However, you will be limited by your imagination, and it's a critical component to be used with Textable. So without our API, unfortunately, you're not able to use Textable. So it's a very important feature to combine together. So we even have, speaking of SMS, recently we have done a collaboration with the TikTok guy, Brett Turner, to do not name him, that use our API in his doorbell to door panel to be able to open his door sending SMS and the API. So it's a weird use case. Don't get me wrong, I know, but it's a creative one, just to a little bit of just to say how far the API can be leveraged to these use cases.
Yeah, we've seen I've seen some cool stuff like that too. To people automate controls in their house or get, so it really depends on how developer friendly you are, but you definitely have some fun with it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's always comes down to the creativity at the end.
Like a coffee maker, right? You've seen people like do their coffee makers and things like that.
Yeah, by SMS or with the SMS and sequence feature that we have at your door. If you want, you can send yourself a SMS, and the sequence will send a DTMF signal to your door panel, and it will unlock it. This is not even with Alexa or stuff like this. It's really through VoIP services, because it's the phone line that get triggered by the DTMF. So it's complicated, but not that much. There's so much stuff that can be done. So check, if you're a code guy, go check the documentation, and there's a lot of function available on the API. After that, financial feature, as I mentioned earlier, VoIP.ms is a prepaid and pay-as-you-go services. So you put money in your account, and all your usage is deducted from this balance. Our portal is completely self-serve, so you don't need to send email to somebody to make changes. You can do it by yourself. Fully contractless, no contract. I think it's self-explanatory. And we support free porting all across North America and Canada, but only for local number and toll-free DID. If you have international number, that maybe we can support it, and most of the time you will have a charge for the porting. And unfortunately, the international DID does not support SMS yet. A little bit about the companies that we have worked with. VoIP.ms core businesses or core customers are small businesses and resellers. However, a lot of the big brand also in the world that are using VoIP.ms, Toys R Us, Icon Health, and Feltness. It's namely Nordic Track, the thing with
the Texas Chuck, what's the guy's name? They had him do the commercials for it. I forget his name though. Chuck Norris. Was it Chuck Norris used to do that?
Yeah. It's something like this. It's remind me, but yeah. And they are worldwide. They have offices everywhere in the world and use VoIP.ms for this. And also cPanel for their huge headquarters in Houston. Every time they have new employees or stuff like this or new offices, they will use VoIP.ms to speed up the deployment of their VoIP communication. So we are suitable for small businesses, but if you have a large enterprise and manufacturers or anything like this, VoIP.ms is also very suitable for this needs. About VoIP.ms team, I don't know why, but this is my favorite slides. This is not all the team because, of course, unfortunately, not everybody could be there at this moment. But we are more than 50 people. I'm here in the middle, just behind our CEO. So we are very, very tight or bounded team. The average seniority. Yeah. The average seniority of VoIP.ms people is 5 years. So it's
So you're doing something right. You're keeping people happy, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's something in the water in VoIP.ms, so people are staying. As I mentioned, we are more than 50 employees with a lot of VoIP expertise. With 5 years average of seniority, you can go otherwise. We offer 24/7 technical support by chat, tickets, and email. We also have a customer success team that can help you with the technical, not knowledge, but challenges. Maybe you have some API integration that you have some issue with. We can help you with this. We can support you in French, English, and Spanish. And yes, Montreal-based, I speak French usually. That's why I'm a little accent in that you can hear behind. And we have a team based also in Merida, Mexico. That's why we are also support in Spanish. We have a complete knowledge base, the Wiki, as I mentioned earlier, Facebook community group, video tutorials, and much more. So if you use the code Textable when you're signing up, you will get a $10 bonus on your first deposit. Yeah, you didn't know about it, Robert, but I made this promotion this morning. So
we'll share it out to folks too.
Perfect, great. It will be available for a month, so go try it out. Here's my contact detail. I'm Philippe Tifo. You can keep my email address and note, and I will send also the presentation, the recording of it after the webinar, and my toll-free number. You can reach out directly to me. That's my presentation on the slides. I want to share a little bit. I want to change. Do you see the wiki right now, Robert?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So this is the wiki page that we have for Textable. It's available in French and Spanish. I was mentioning about the sign up link earlier today. This is the link if you want to sign up with Textable. After that, it's how to enable Textable VoIP.ms within Textable. Yeah, that's better. You have to go into your customer portal. you go here, you get the API, and you follow the steps here. So you just need to enable it with this IP address, confirm a password, and the password will, if I'm correct, I think the password will be your API key within Textable. Is it? Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm not a technical guy here, so that's very straightforward. After that, the only thing that you will need to do is go into manage the ID. Oh, well,
You get timed out, I suppose. Right?
yeah. So you'll have to go into manage the ID and edit your DID. Scroll down below. Enable SMS, of course, and after that, you will need to use the SMS URL callback link. This, yeah, it's exactly here. So you will be able to input that into SMS MMS here, and you'll simply connect your Textable directly with VoIP.ms with this. After that, you go in Textable, input your API key or password of the key, and that's it. That's pretty much it. It takes literally 5 minutes to do it. It's very simple. You could add a little bit of feature if you want. You can use solely and only Textable for your MMS or SMS, but you could also do a SMS forward to your email. Let's say you want to absolutely have them by email. You could do it in both ways. But yeah, here today we're presenting Textable. So I think the best scenario will be that everything will be concealed and used under Textable. We also have the ability to withdraw or see the SMS here. As I mentioned earlier, VoIP.ms is a bring your own solution provider. We have these tools also. They're not close to what Textable is offering, not at all. So you can withdraw the numbers if you want to. I don't think I have any SMS there, but you will only see the message. You will not have drip campaigns, can answered, and so on. It's only
Yeah, I think it's a good solution for that real light user.
a
Doesn't want to
very
pay a
light
subscription
user.
fee for yep.
Very light user, to be honest. It's not a. It's almost for residentials use.
Sure.
It's not for a business. For a business, it can be used if you're a sole entrepreneur, but again, I think you will prefer to have a more robust solution with a little bit more features. Even your basic plan is offering much more already. So and at $5, I think it's a go-to solution. So that's pretty much it on VoIP.ms portal. So yeah, you could use us, as I mentioned, as your VoIP provider. So you can register your DIDs, and your DIDs can be used also for SMS, but for your voice needs. So you could build up a complete VoIP system with a digital receptionist and having multiple extension routed to these to different user. You can
The
record the
failover is
call.
nice too, right? So Phil, I don't know if I ever told you this, but my first ever VoIP carrier was actually VoIP.ms like 10 years ago plus.
Yeah.
It came into a company that had already been using it. And so I had to learn it. And I found out some really cool things. Like when I broke our free PBX, I think it was at the time, you guys had some failover stuff still, like even at the, VoIP.ms level that other carriers might not have, right? Being that you can control a lot of things without needing your own infrastructure, but also use your own PBX when you need to. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, this is one of the when we're doing a voice solution, a lot of the or pro user or enterprise user will use us with their internal PBXs, but we'll leverage the failover option to have a mix between or hosted solution in their on-premise or cloud PBX, whatever. And yeah, it's something that it's used a lot, because if busy, unreachable, or no answer, let's say unreachable means that your PBX it's not reachable. So you absolutely don't want to miss the call. So you can send a call to you could do a call forwarding and send it to somebody directly, or you could do I don't know, a voicemail instead of just hang up on the there's
this isn't supposed to happen. Go, please go here, or ring the alarm bell somewhere else.
Exactly. And one of the key hosted feature that we have that can be combined with Textable or voice services, it's the SMS and sequence information. So with the IVR, you could do a sequence at a step, send SMS from this DID to. So if somebody is calling you and is calling you and I don't know, you want to press 3 for emergency, it could send a SMS message from your VoIP number to a specific account owner DID. And this message, because it's sent from a supported Textable DID, the conversation will also be carried into Textable at the same time, because the SMS will go out at the same time. So it's a sequence. It's one of the good feature that we are offering in combination with the VoIP services and SMS. So yeah, basically, if you combine VoIP.ms and Textable, you have a complete contact center. It's moreover with the new integration that you just released with Microsoft Teams and Slack, and one of the things that I forget to ask, will you be able to answer directly in Team?
Yeah, today, no, just because they're really channel notifications right now. We're already working on, and like for basically all Slack, Teams, and WebEx, they're all sort of working the same way, that they'll have an area to pop up where you can reply inside of Teams.
Okay.
I'm hopeful that will get out by the end of the year. So.
Okay, cool, great. So yeah, as I mentioned, with all this all combined, then definitely you will end up with a very complete omni-channel communication center.
Yeah, and beyond that too, I think I've shared you some screenshots. We're not quite ready to show publicly, but there's some cool things we're doing with some other partners we have, a click to call, things like that, integrations into the PBX, where we can hopefully be more than just the texting. There's a single pane of glass that we can pull in a lot of these things for you. So that's in the future. So
that's in the future. Yeah. And the fast pace, at the pace that you are developing your stuff, I'm pretty confident you will end up with all these new features soon. So yeah, it works to check. But just for what it's available today, I can tell you that we have a lot of customer asking question about it. So yeah.
Right.
I think that's pretty much it for VoIP.ms side. So feel free to go see the wiki about the Textable and sign up, try the platform. It's very not expensive to get started, and you will see all the possibility that you can leverage from both of the services. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Take my contact detail, and I will also send the recording after the webinar. All right, then. So I think it sums it up. Thank you, Robert, for being with me today. It's a very good pleasure, and I think we might see each other in other trade show.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we'll bump into each other again soon. Yeah, thanks for having us. Had a lot of fun with this. Again, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to the VoIP.ms guys, us. We'll be glad to get you guys started. So
great. Thank you again, Robert. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Have a good one.